Completing the square is a great method to use for solving quadratics because it allows you to turn any trinomial into a perfect square trinomial and then solve by using our square root method. Remember, perfect square trinomials are trinomials that when you factor them give you two identical factors, which you can then write as one factor or one binomial squared. If you look at here for the steps, to complete the square with any trinomial, the first thing you're going to do is, if your a value is something other than 1, you're going to divide both sides of the equation by a to get rid of it. If a is already a 1, you do not have to do that step. Step 2 says rewrite the equation so the constant term is alone on one side. Basically what that means is move c to the other side of the equation. C is actually not going to be part of the perfect square trinomial. Step 3 says square half the coefficient of x and add this square to both sides of the equation. That is where you're going to find the b divided by 2 squared value, and that is what you're going to add to both sides of the equation because it will turn the left side of this into a perfect square trinomial. You can then factor the trinomial on the left side into a binomial squared, and then just use the square root property to solve. So for example, if you come down here and look at example 2. Example 2, our a value is already a 1, so we don't need to do step 1. So my first thing I'm going to do is I am going to move c to the other side by subtracting 8. And that gives me the equation x squared plus 10x equals negative 8. I'm then going to find my b divided by 2 squared value. So 10 divided by 2 squared will give me 25. And I'm going to add 25 to both sides of this. The reason we have to add it to both sides is we have to keep our equation balanced. This is now a perfect square trinomial, which I can factor and write as 1 factor squared. Square root of x squared is x, square root of 25 is 5, addition in the middle, addition in the middle. And then over here, we just add negative 8 plus 25 and get 17. Well, this is just like the problems that we did on Khan Academy the other day. Once you have the squared part of the problem by itself, you just square root to cancel it, and you get to x plus 5 equals plus or minus the square root of 17. You should always check to see if your radical will simplify, but 17 will not. And so the last thing we would have to do is subtract 5. And our final answer is x equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 17.